Hello everyone, it is Lucy and today I'm here with part 2 of my How to Build a Skincare Routine series. You could also probably call it a starting your skincare routine from scratch video because I'm going through everything you need to know to build your skincare routine from the ground up. If you have not seen part 1 where we cover the basics like your cleansers, moisturizers and sunscreens, then go and check that out first before you watch this one. Otherwise, if you have a basic skincare routine that works pretty well for you but you're looking to level up a little bit, then stick around because this video is going to get into those additional steps that kind of take our skincare routine from basic but functioning to sort of the next level. So I'm just going to wiggle over this way so you can see my stunning homemade graphic. As I was kind of putting together the concepts and notes for this video series, I was trying to think about what separates tiers 1, 2 and 3. To me, tier 1, your sort of bottom tier, is all about fundamentals. And then tier 2 is kind of like meaningful additions. Like, I don't want to say your skin's in girl boss mode, but you are adding some products that are going to make a significant difference in how your skincare routine performs. So these are the steps that we had in tier 1, and tier 2 has the addition of a double cleanse in the evening, with the first cleanse being the new product and the second cleanse being your existing cleanser, as well as a serum step in between your cleanser and moisturizer, and this is in both your AM and PM routine. Now, in the first video of this skincare series, we talked a lot about what kind of steps in your skincare routine are necessary and what's important and why we do things. And I just want to stress that this second video and this third video, we're not really talking about necessities. These are kind of like extra things you can do for hopefully some extra effects, but they are by no means a must at all. I don't want anyone to feel like they are flopping or not doing their skincare properly if you're not doing these things. As I said in the last video, I think the best skincare routine is the one that works for you. So whatever that looks like and whatever shape that takes, as long as you are doing the best for yourself, that is completely fine and that is the right routine for you. So if someone came to me and said, you know, I have a really good solid skincare routine, I cleanse, I moisturize, I use sunscreen, but I'm looking to kind of level up and start seeing some differences, the very first thing I would actually recommend is double cleanse. So you do not need a double cleanse, but in saying that, I feel like for me, this was one of the things that really kind of changed the skincare game for me. And the reason why I would recommend a double cleanse to a lot of people who are looking to level up their skincare routine is because at our core, we are flawed, messy little humans. So if we cleanse twice in 2 different ways instead of just once, it can maybe remove some of that human error that we all have in maybe not necessarily doing like a 100% perfect cleanse. Now, double cleansing may actually be potentially one of my favorite parts in my skincare routine, and I would highly recommend it to any makeup or sunscreen wearer, or just anyone in general, really. It just ensures you're really thoroughly removing any makeup residue, dirt from just existing on the earth, sebum that has seeped through your pores throughout the day. A first cleanse kind of gets in there and mops all of that up and clears the way, so your second cleanse can really effectively cleanse your skin. Like, I feel like I do a solid job cleansing, and if I was a gambling woman, which I'm not by any means, but if I were a gambling woman, if I were to bet on which face is going to be the cleaner face, is it going to be the face that's been cleansed once or the face that's going to be cleansed twice in 2 different methods, I would pick the second one. And when you have skin that is more cleansed, you're less likely to run into problems that comes from skin being not properly cleansed, as well as it being ready to receive all the goody yum yums that you're about to put on top of it. So the first step in a double cleanse is going to be a cleansing water or a makeup remover, or a cleansing balm, or a cleansing oil. Any of those options, whichever formula you prefer, something that's a little bit oilier or balmier, or is designed to break down makeup or sunscreen, those kinds of formulas are the perfect candidate for the first step in a double cleanse. And I also happen to have a couple of like general recommendations or examples for you as well to look into. So for makeup removers, I would say Bioderma's Sensibio Micellar Solution, a classic, Garnier Micellar Water, Clinique Take Off the Day Makeup Remover, or Lancome by Facile. I don't know how to pronounce that. I am not French and I am of just ambiguous convict descent. But any makeup removers, particularly, I do quite enjoy the bi-phase, you know what I mean? Like the 2-layer ones, those are great. Or micellar waters, that is what I'm talking about when it comes to makeup removers. Then for balm cleansers, you've got the Hamish All Clean Balm, the Inkey List Oat Cleansing Balm, the Vanilla Co Cleansing Zero. I actually haven't tried it, funnily enough, even though I know it's super popular, but that one is a popular one. And the Juno Skin Clean 10 Balm. These These ones usually come in a tub. They're a little bit more of, you know, a balm consistency that when you rub together in your hands, they kind of warm up a little bit, and then you can use it to rub it on your face. Functionally, once they get to that rubby warm part, balm cleansers and oil cleansers are kind of similar, but you know, each to their own. I like them both equally. And speaking of oil cleansers, some that come to mind are the DHC Deep Cleansing Oil, the Hyaluronic Gokyujin Oil Cleanser, the Sioris Fresh Moment Cleansing Oil, and the Skin 1004 Madagascar Centella Light Cleansing Oil. These are all just off the top of my head. I might have forgotten some that I've tried, and there are also plenty I haven't tried yet. And if you want any further notes or thoughts on any of these types of products, then you can go into the link in the description box and check out my skincare spreadsheet. Which, if you're not aware of my skincare spreadsheet, it's basically a spreadsheet where I log all of my skincare. I write little reviews, I give things scores. It's by no means like a complete resource or anything like that, but I figure I've tried quite a few things and it might be handy if you just want to see if I've tried it and what I think. It's there. Now, the great thing about certain makeup removers and oil cleansers and balm cleansers is, surprise, they're oil based. And if we refer back to some of those classic chemistry lessons, like dissolves like. So when you apply cleansing oil to your hands and rub it into your face and you start massaging it around, it's going to kind of magnet and grab onto all of the other oil based things on your face. So makeup, sebum, and sunscreen. Now, your typical kind of foamy cleanser, that is a water-based cleanser. And while they can definitely cleanse your skin, much like a delicious, tasty salad dressing like a vinaigrette, oil and water tend not to mix. They don't stick together, they stay separate, and they repel each other. Now, as we all know, science exists. So modern cleansers are designed to be able to cut through oil and, you know, clean the makeup off your face. So if you're hearing this and you're like, no, Lucy, that is too much work. I will not be cleansing my skin twice when I can really actually do a pretty solid individual singular cleanse, then by all means, just do one cleanse. I just prefer double cleansing because, number one, I actually really enjoy the process, and that is a very important component to this. But I also like the insurance, if you want to put it that way, that the combination of those two steps is going to ensure that I've really cleansed my skin. Also, if you are someone who is really diligent about cleansing your skin even in a single step, I like that the double cleanse prevents me from going full rabid scrub mode, because the oil balm cleanser first cleansing step really helps to just melt everything off like butter, so you don't really have to like scrub, you know what I mean, like little mascara smudgies under your eyes. You don't have to do that. It's all just gone before you even start your second cleanse. Even though it's 2 steps instead of 1, I do often find it's a little bit more of a gentler process. Now, this balm cleansing, oil cleansing step is where you get that really satisfying massage kind of moment. And if you wear makeup, this is where you get to look like a melty candle or a new rendition of the DC Universe's Joker. And typically when you're doing this process, you want to start with dry hands and a dry face. Add the product in, warm it up with your hands, and then rub that all over your face. Then once you've sort of massaged and got the product all over your face, you'll want to add a little bit of water to your hands and you'll start to see the product get milky. This is where your first cleanser is emulsifying, so just continue to add water as it gets milky and eventually rinse all of it off. If you are using a makeup remover, however, discard all of that and just use it to directions, probably with a cotton pad or a reusable cotton pad. Just do that. And if you're really extra like me, sometimes I will actually use a makeup remover first on some stubborn waterproof mascara or a really strong lip, and then I'll go into my first cleanse and then do my second cleanse. The more thorough you are in your first step cleanse, the better, because then you won't be doing your second step cleanse and working double time to remove the foundation in your nose crevice. Also, to my oily babies, I implore you, do not be scared of oil cleansers. They're not going to make your skin any oilier. Especially with oil cleanser, as it is designed to emulsify and rinse off. So it's going to take actually any of the skin oil, the excess skin oil that you might not be so jazzed about, it's going to take it with it in like a really kind of gentle, nourishing way that isn't going to freak your skin out and think it's like stolen all of its oil supplies. I also just want to make a brief suggestion to not try and DIY your own cleansing oil. Again, I know this is quite popular and I know a lot of people enjoy it, and if it's your thing and it works for you, then by all means continue doing it. But using the type of oils that you can find in the grocery store, things like coconut oil and olive oil, those products haven't been formulated specifically for you to use on your face, and they haven't been formulated in a way that is designed for them to emulsify and dissolve and rinse off. They tend to leave a kind of really thick residue on your skin that's kind of hard to get off. And then it kind of defeats the purpose, because even if it takes off or dissolves some of your makeup, you still have this kind of thick oil-based residue that you then have to try and cut through with your second cleanser. Now, there are also some amazing cleansing oils on the market that do use ingredients like coconut oil and olive oil, but these have been used by cosmetic chemists within a formula, and they've been put into a formula that makes them rinse off clean. And that is very different to using the just plain raw ingredient, which is why we like to use the professional formulas created by cosmetic chemists, because they are cosmetic chemists, because they are big brain. When I implemented double cleansing into my routine when I was kind of getting into skincare, it helped me realize that maybe I wasn't cleansing as effectively as I thought I was, because even though I was cleansing every morning and night, and I was wearing sunscreen and moisturizer and doing kind of all the good things I was doing, I probably wasn't being thorough enough with my cleanse to ensure that I was really cleansing. And I just noticed kind of over time I was getting less breakouts and less congestion. So after the first step of the double cleanse comes the second, and spoiler alert, we already have the second step of our double cleanse. It is just the cleanser, like in tier 1, except now it's your second cleanser. And this cleansing step that is the second step of your double cleansing routine is functionally the same as the cleanser that you do first thing in the morning. So far, the only change we've made to the routine is now we have an oil/balm/makeup removing cleansing step before we do our cleanse in the evening. Now, the next thing you're going to want to incorporate to kind of step up from your tier 1 or simple skincare routine is a category which I was tempted to describe as actives, but I've ended up going for serums. Mainly because most actives do tend to come in a serum form, and you can slot serums into pretty much any kind of skincare routine to address skin goals. Plus, we can talk about the more extra or alternative forms of actives in the next video. Now, in terms of where serums go in your routine as a whole, and just generally how to decide what goes where, there is a very simple rule of thumb, which is thinnest to thickest. And then if it's daytime sunscreen. So if you're using a serum and a moisturizer, your serum's probably a little bit more watery than your moisturizer is, so thin to thick. And same again if you like using something like a toner. It's probably more on the watery side. So toner, more watery, thinner. Serum, moisturizer, thin to thick. Now that is an easy rule of thumb, but there is an exception. And that would be depending on the directions of the serums that you are using. And this is because with certain serums that contain certain kinds of active ingredients, they might perform differently depending on your pH level of your skin. So obviously they're designed to work with your skin's natural pH, but they maybe don't work as well if your skin's already dampened by a little hydrating toner or something like that. Typically things like vitamin C, retinols, AHAs, BHAs, those types of actives, they maybe benefit from going on first. This is just because if you put a layer in between those serums and your skin, it doesn't mean they won't necessarily work at all. They might still work a bit, or maybe mostly. It just means that if you're having a layer maybe of something more viscous, like a watery serum or something like that, underneath your active serum, they've got like a barrier to go through. Do you know what I mean? Like you're making them maybe work a little bit harder to try and get to your skin or do the things it needs to do. And actually that is really great if you have very sensitive skin. Sometimes putting a thin layer of a hydrating serum or even a moisturizer on underneath a active product can mean that it'll just make it a little bit more gentle if you're just really worried about the effects of something a little bit more active on your skin. But in general, if you are paying for these products to do a certain thing, it's probably good to give it the best conditions to do the thing in the best way that works for you. So for me, when I'm doing my skincare routine, I always do cleansing, whatever active ingredient serum first. And then if I have additional non-active products, so that's everything from toners, essences, serums, moisturizers, I will apply those from thinnest to thickest. So I go cleanser, active serum, all my other products from thinnest to thickest. Now, when it comes to picking a serum, let's try and think about some of the goals for our skin that we have in mind. Do we want it to be really even toned, really plump, smooth in texture? Once you know what your priorities are and what you're kind of looking for, what goal you're heading towards, then you can kind of look for the types of ingredients and serums that are going to help you achieve those. A couple of common goals that you might be interested in and might be on the hunt for are brightening, exfoliating, hydrating, soothing, moisturizing, and firming. Now, all of these different goals have different ingredients that you might see associated with them in formulas that promise to or claim to do some of those things. And quite a few of the ones that you'll see on those lists are referred to as actives. Now, there is actually a little bit of debate about what is and isn't considered to be an active. But I feel actives, in a nutshell, are the ones that are doing the heavy lifting of what the product scientifically claims it's going to do. To me, active ingredients tend to have clinical studies around them or specifically about them, showing that they are functional performing ingredients. And you'll likely recognize or know of quite a few different active ingredients because these are the ingredients that time and time again have been shown to work. Now, not everything that works for you or can help you is necessarily an active ingredient, but when it comes to skincare and looking at certain types of formulas, especially with kind of those bigger claims, the actives are the ones that are going to be doing the most. For example, one really common active is glycolic acid. It is a proven chemical exfoliating acid, and what it does is it munch crunches on the top layer of your skin cells, yum yum. So if there is a serum or a product that tells you it's going to smooth the look of your skin and make it nice and hydrated because all the dry crustiness is going to be gone, there may be lots of nice things in there. But if glycolic acid is kind of one of the main ingredients or one of the featured ingredients in the formula, that's the one that's doing the munch crunching yum yumming. And this brings me to another kind of aspect of all of this, which is formulation. If these active ingredients are the secret ingredient to a lot of these serum formulas, the recipe still matters. For example, I could make a cake and I could put delicious Dutch cocoa powder and melted chocolate, and I could bake it and give it to you and say, this is a chocolate cake. And you would eat it and be like, yum, yum, yummy, scrummy, Lucy, I agree. This is a chocolate cake, yum, yum. And the other cake would basically be a pretty basic vanilla cake, but I'd put a little bit of cocoa powder in it and like 3 stray chocolate chips. And I could give it to you and say, well, this is a chocolate cake because it also contains chocolate and it's a cake, so it's a chocolate cake. And you would be like, yeah, I don't know. Although it potentially functions on paper as a chocolate cake, perhaps we may disagree that it's like actually a good chocolate cake. Now, I am by no means any type of cosmetic chemist, so just be sure to read reviews and use your big, beautiful, consumer critical brain to have a look at product ingredients and make sure that they are going to actively be doing the things that the actives are claiming to do. Now, I can't go into depth into every single ingredient, every single active. Skincare has really become so much more popular in the last few years, so there is a wealth of information out there. As much as it may surprise you and shock you to your core, I am not necessarily the fountain of all scientific knowledge. And as past Lucy was writing these notes and kind of putting together the script for this video, she decided to make it, you know, not 6 hours of Science 101 with Lucy, the not scientist. In saying that, brief science moment again, I can't tell you what combinations of your serums or actives you can or can't do. There is so much varying different advice, and I've also watched that advice change over time as skincare science has evolved. So the product's individual directions will be your best friend, but if you're just starting out, I would say to try and only use one active product or ingredient per routine. So one active formula in the AM and one active formula in the PM. So in terms of what actives you should look into, for beginners, I would definitely recommend going with a vitamin C in the morning and an AHA/BHA in the evening. And the reason why I recommend this combo is because both of these active ingredients are highly researched and have been in the game for a very long time. And there's also a variety of formulas from very gentle to very strong, so you can kind of start wherever your skin feels best and work your way up. And I also feel like if you've never used active ingredients before and you're looking to level up your skincare routine, those two, I feel like you will see results in a satisfying way quite soon. Now, starting off with why we like vitamin C. Vitamin C is great because it's like a tasty sandwich. It's a BLT, which means it brightens, it lightens, and it tightens. It does a lot to overall brighten your skin tone. It helps to heal blemishes and reduce hyperpigmentation. It doesn't actually lighten your skin, which is like a whole part of skincare stuff, which we won't get into today. But it also helps to promote your skin's collagen production, which makes your skin firmer and more elastic. Provided it works with you and your skin, if you only added vitamin C to a very simple routine, I do feel like you would see a pretty decent difference. And if you're me and use a particular kind of vitamin C that you've been able to use successfully for multiple years with absolutely no problems, but you suddenly become allergic to, you can suddenly see a real difference in terms of swelling, flakiness, itching, and mild anxiety. No, in all seriousness, as much as my love for vitamin C is on a little bit of a break at the moment, I do still maintain and believe in vitamin C as just being an incredible ingredient to add to your skincare routine. And I do continue to strongly recommend it to a lot of people, as the majority of people do not have any problems, and it continues to just be a really effective, lovely addition to their routine. A few particular vitamin C's that come to mind are the ones from the Ordinaries range, the Inky Lists range, Milano CC, Holy Frogs, Summer Friday CC Me Serum. There are a whole bunch of vitamin C's out there, and there are plenty of reviews, but wherever possible, if you can go to your local Sephora, Mecca, Ulta, and grab a sample, then that's probably a pretty good idea. And that goes for all skincare products, but particularly for actives. And that's because everybody's different, and you may prefer a specific type of serum or formula of your active. And with all actives, including vitamin C, just make sure to patch test before you kind of slap it over your whole face, because some actives can be a little bit irritating depending on your skin sensitivity level, but also if it's your first time using actives, you'll likely feel a little bit of that signature special tingle. Maybe that's how I should have divided actives and non-actives. Does it make your skin do the special tingle? I also just want to say, don't necessarily go after the bigger vitamin C percentage if it's advertised, because that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better. Vitamin C is actually a really funky ingredient because once you apply it to your skin, it creates this reservoir effect, which basically means it stays in your skin for up to 72 hours and kind of slowly depletes. That reservoir in your skin has a limit to the amount of vitamin C goodness it can hold. So once you've used it for a couple of days sequentially, using a vitamin C stronger than 20% isn't gonna do anything. It's like pouring into something that's already full and the extra just flows over. It just doesn't do anything. And you can actually use vitamin C in the morning or at night, but I personally like using vitamin C in the morning because vitamin C underneath sunscreen actually helps to kind of better boost your skin with antioxidants and fight those free radicals throughout the day. So I just like that added benefit that comes with having that fresh top up of vitamin C in the morning, kind of taking you throughout the day. And I have already harped on in part 1 about the importance of sunscreen, but if you are introducing actives into your skincare routine, they are going to make your skin a little more sensitive to the sun. So you do just really need to make sure that you're wearing sunscreen, especially with actives introduced into your routine. Okay? I'm not joking. I'm serious. You need to be wearing your sunscreen if you're gonna add actives in. So now let's talk about the active slash serum that I recommend for your nighttime routine, which would be something with AHAs and or BHAs. So AHAs and BHAs are chemical exfoliators. Now our skin cycle, from being generated at the bottom layer of our skin to being pushed up and yeeted off the top layer of our skin, from start to finish, that takes, when we're young, 28 days. As we get older though, that sort of starts to slow down. Maybe it takes 30, 32, 34 days to get from the beginning to the end. So I have this analogy, please bear with me. Think of your skin like a garden on a prime piece of expensive land because you are a hot piece of real estate. With our garden, we want to have a certain patch of it to be nice, smooth, grassy area so we can have our lovely little delightful cottagecore picnics. And at the moment, we have a little bit of uneven ground and kind of like some weeds in the way. Now, tactically, if we try and pull out the weeds first, we're gonna make a little bit of a mess, right? Because we've got like a top layer of like drier soil. So as we pull them, we're gonna kind of pull up all the stuff with it. And we don't really want to be pulling up half our yard because we know we've got the good stuff underneath, but we just want to kind of clear some of those weeds out and kind of get that nice smoothness on the top. If we till that top layer of soil, I think tilling is the correct terminology. I'm not a green thumb. I live in an apartment with a balcony. But if we till that top layer, then we're working with that kind of fresh, soft soil. It's a lot more malleable, a lot more easier to work with. And then, because the soil's nice and soft and like fresh, we can just pluck those little weeds out no problem because they're not like kind of stuck with the dryness on top. I'm really making a bit of a mess of this analogy. I'm so sorry. But essentially, our AHAs are kind of our way to till the face soil. AHAs are able to kind of break down the glue between our skin cells on that top layer of our skin. It helps to kind of speed up that process of that top layer breaking up and dissolving off our skin, leaving the fresh layer underneath. So once we've got the oldest layer of our skin off the top, we can go in with our BHAs, which are great for battling congestion. BHAs are oil soluble, and like we said earlier, like dissolves like. So now the job for the BHAs is a lot easier because it doesn't have to kind of go through that top layer of skin. It's already on the nice soft new layer of skin. So now it can just go in and kind of scoop up our little congestion and blackheads and dissolve all of that gunk. You don't necessarily have to use both AHAs and BHAs together to have an effect on your skin, but I do like and recommend this combo because the AHA kind of sweeps away that top layer, which is lovely, but then the BHA has a really easy time going in and getting to be effective in clearing any congestion or blemishes that are on their way up. There are lots of formulas out on the market that have both AHAs and BHAs in them. I primarily just use AHAs in my routine because congestion and blackheads aren't like a major concern or focus of my routine. And like I said in my maybe slightly confusing explanation, AHAs are kind of clearing up that top layer of skin or helping to speed that process up. BHAs are trying to get down deeper to try and dissolve that like oil and gunk. And so combination wise, it makes sense to do like an AHA first and then a BHA second, but you wouldn't necessarily do a BHA first with an AHA second. I don't think that's really done. And while you can absolutely use a BHA on its own, and if blackheads and congestion is like a major factor to you, then I can totally understand why you would just want to use a BHA product. It's kind of like they're a power couple, like AHAs and BHAs are together, but if they were to have a really messy, dramatic breakup, I'm probably team AHA. AHAs may be just a little bit easier for everyone to get along with, like we can all agree that AHA is like cool to hang out with, and BHA, maybe you need to get to know them a bit more. Maybe they're like a one-on-one type of person, you know what I mean? Again, for more information on different serums I've tried, you can head to my skincare spreadsheet in the link below. I've tried a variety of AHAs specifically. I've tried quite a few AHAs and some of them I think have BHAs in them as well. So those are the main actives I would recommend, being vitamin C and AHAs and BHAs. If you have nowhere to start and you're like, oh my God, retinols, oh my God, like what are ceramides? Those are the ones I would recommend you look at first, and then you can maybe dip your toes into some of the other ones as well. Additionally, I do want to devote a brief moment, if I may, to hyaluronic acid. It's an acid by name, and I believe it's technically an active, although I don't really feel like I treat it like an active. In that with most actives, you know, your chemical exfoliants, your retinols, I feel like there's a certain degree of caution you need to exercise, and if you like kind of don't know what you're doing, if you're not too careful, you can give yourself a chemical burn, which I've done, by the way. Whereas I feel like hyaluronic acid, you can kind of be a little bit more gung-ho about it and you'll probably be fine. It's a bit more of a chill. It's the cool girl of actives. And regardless if your skin is on the oilier side or it's a little bit drier and more dehydrated, I feel like hyaluronic acid makes for a really solid addition to a routine if you haven't got one already. Hyaluronic acid can actually be naturally found within your body, and it's a humectant, which means it retains moisture. It keeps things moist. So when you're applying it topically onto your skin, hyaluronic acid serums are helping your skin hold on to as much hydration as it can. And more hydrated skin means more plumped skin, and if you want maximum plumping, you're going to want to look for a hyaluronic acid serum that has multiple molecular weights of hyaluronic acid. Bigger molecules, while obviously big and really nice and juicy, may not necessarily make it down to the lower layers of your skin. So adding a mix of different forms of hyaluronic acid in medium and small molecule sizes, as well as the big juicy ones, will kind of create this like plumping effect where your skin is kind of plumped on multiple levels. So you're pumping hydration into multiple layers of your skin from the inside out, which is going to give you that overall really juicy, dewy glass skin kind of vibe that you just, you know, when all the models are like, I drink water, it's like, it's that. My holy grail for a hyaluronic acid serum with multiple molecular weights is the Hada Labo Gokujun Premium Lotion. It's this one. So good. There are so many hyaluronic acid serums out there. You've got the entire Hada Labo range of hyaluronic acid serums. Torridin, Revectin, Claire's Glow Recipe. I love the Plum Plump one. That one's so good. The Ordinary's hyaluronic acid. I would just say most decently sized skincare brands do have some type of hyaluronic acid in their lineup. And even if they don't have it as like a dedicated hyaluronic acid product, it's probably in some of their formulas somewhere. Again, there are lots of different forms of actives, and there's even more detail we can go into about different kinds of vitamin C and all of that. I am not an expert. I can just kind of give you like a little bit of a taste, and then hopefully you'll think that it's such a yummy little knowledge treat that you'll go search for more about specific things that you want to know. Also, many of you may be like, Lucy, where's the vitamin A? Where's the retinol? I'm not really a pro when it comes to retinols. And while I do get retinols and like I understand them and I like them, I just genuinely haven't tried that many different formulas of retinol because I'm still in my early to mid 20s and I just don't really feel like I need it that much. But I'm looking to explore it more, but that I just don't feel like I can really give you like so many big brain tips on it. I don't know, I don't really feel like I can speak to a product category that I haven't really used a lot of. I think I've only used like 3 or 4 different retinols. I am trying more, but it's just like, I don't use them that much. One retinol type product that I can say I've used is the Sunday Riley Luna Oil. I love that product, it's so great. Otherwise, a couple of additional active quick tips. First up, not every form of active works for everyone. My skin prefers some types of chemical exfoliants over others. My friends, family, boyfriend, like everyone I know, we all like different things and have different things work differently for us. Number 2, again, if you're using actives, sunscreen. Use sunscreen anyway, but like especially then, because your skin is going to be sensitized to the sun when you're using these types of actives that like speed up your skin and bring the baby skin to the surface. Protect your baby delicious soft baby skin. Use sunscreen. And lastly, just reiterating, and this applies to all products, but especially actives, patch test. Patch test before you use it, and as you use it, really slowly integrate it into your routine, okay? Maybe just use it 1 time a week the first time and see how you go with that. And then maybe move up to using it twice a week, then maybe every other night, and so on and so forth. Like just really be really slow and steady about it. And also the strength of an ingredient can vary between percentages, but even the same amount of the same ingredient can hit differently depending on how it's formulated. So even though you've had experience with a certain percentage of a certain ingredient and you change brands and formulas and you think it's going to be the same, just still be cautious because it could be different. And with that, that is basically all of my advice for tier 2 of like skincare, kind of like the level up from the most simple to kind of your more like sciencey doing things section. For me, I would actually say that my everyday routine for my skin most resembles tier 2. I'm girl bossing, I'm on the run, I'm gate lining, I'm gas keeping. So even though I'm mentally on tier 3 in terms of like the range of skincare I like to enjoy and like the variety I do partake in, I'm usually doing tier 2 day to day. So for those of you interested in seeing the final video on the tier 3 skincare, including those fun bits and bobs like devices and masks, all those extra frilly fun self-care TM skincare things, then do subscribe and stick around because that will be on its way. But that is everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.